show you all if you had, maybe a few hundred Blu-rays, or maybe you have a few nice box sets and a handful of other Blu-rays, but you don't necessarily have those gigantic collections that you sometimes see on YouTube or social media, how effective something like this can be if you can get a hold of it from a thrift store or some place that's just kind of giving you a reasonable, piece of furniture. This is fairly sturdy, and I got it for, like I said, like $30 from my thrift store, and there's only a few inches of space between like the Blu-rays and the shelf here. It's not the most visually attractive thing. I mean, it's got marks all over it, and there's dust on it. I might run some kind of cleaner on it, but it does the job, and I feel like I'm not using very much wall space at all. I know I could obviously have some kind of storage that took up this entire wall, but that would cost me hundreds of dollars, right? But I wanted to show you just a little bit of the collection and sort of how I organized it. And all I did was I just put my box sets, or stuff that felt like box sets to me, up here. I have other larger box sets in a separate place with my Criterions, and then I have another place for my Steelbooks. But if you're like me, you have a handful of or a lot of this kind of overflow stuff that, you may not have. For example, like I don't have but a few Eureka products, right? Like at most I could ever see myself owning would be like 20. Whereas I do have a ton of Criterion collections, so I set those aside. And I only have like a few Arrow, pieces of Arrow merchandise, such as this Conan here, the Barbarian, but this is a thicker pack, so I put it up here. And I just don't have like hundreds of each label, or even 100 that aren't Criterion. So I just put all these bigger boxes up here. Stuff like, I have, for example, this 4K Amadeus I haven't dug into yet that looks really sweet. I bought this because I felt like this was a substantial enough film that it might be worth a box set. Now, I did not buy a box set or a collector's edition for Halloween 2. I was able to get this in an auction. I knew I wanted to have Halloween 2, but I didn't need the nicest copy. So it's just, kind of shoved in the collection here amongst the randoms. But I have this nice Blu-ray Alien pack that I like because this was before we had as many boutiques as we do now. It's really pretty. It kind of looks like those old Alien Legos. So stuff like this I'm attracted to, or I'll get like, here's a Back to the Future 4K. That's something that is worth a box set, right? And occasionally I'll pick up a few other things like I have a Carl Theodore Dreyer pack because I really like that director. But a lot of my stuff just ends up being, less expensive, smaller stuff, unless I really like the movie, or maybe it's a Western, and so I'll get the nice Eureka copy, like this Johnny guitar that I love this cover. But, for the most part, I feel like I've been really happy. As soon as I brought this in, I have a van I could put this in. It just sort of did what I wanted. It's a few feet wide, however much that is. And I have already felt more comfortable just having something like this, where I have, you can't see it as much, you can't see it from here, but I have VHS on the bottom and some DVDs, but most of it's just Blu-ray storage, and I'm actually going to be able to have, quite a bit more, because what I'll do is I'll put my DVDs down here with my VHS, and I'll be able to have, I don't know, probably 100 more Blu-rays on this thing, so it'll last me a while. And then I'll probably clear some of this out and trade it in. I don't want a whole lot more excess than this. And my guess is that a lot of you that watch these kind of channels don't necessarily have the time, the money, the desire to have that much physical media beyond something like this. So I just wanted to make a little video where I showed you what this could look like, in case you have been considering doing something like this. I had this idea, maybe I wouldn't spend too much money. I'd try to find something thrifting, and I looked for a while, and I found it relatively quickly because I knew what I was looking for. And when I was in the thrift shop, I even kind of grabbed the Blu-ray and a DVD and put them up here and was like, can I live with that much space? You know, I certainly could. And that's kind of what I came up with. But what are you all doing for your storage? Let me know in the comments. And if you found this video at all helpful, or if you'd like to see more of my collection, let me know. I'll consider kind of expanding this video if you all want to see a little bit more of my collection. Like I said, this is the not Criterion stuff. But anyway, click the like button if it was helpful. Like I said, probably already said that. It's like when you're doing these YouTube videos, your mind is a running script, you know, and you tend to repeat yourself. Yeah, subscribe, definitely, because I cover lots of movie-related stuff. Like I said, Criterions, which I don't have any up here. Anyway, see you next time. Cody in the Cinema.